Everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Gaming Golf. We're covering Harbour Town. We're covering a fun contest here for the RBC. Coming fresh off the Masters, where we saw a masterful performance by Hideki Matsuyama on over the weekend. Starting after the rain delay on Saturday, he just really took off. Pretty impressive finish. He had one little hiccup on the first hole, another one on the 15th hole, but other than that, I mean, he pretty much it was super solid all day on Sunday.
Yeah, you almost feel bad in saying that it was almost a classic Masters, but it was still a good Masters because, in a way, like to make that a classic, you would have almost needed to see that Masters be tied somewhere on the back nine, and it was close to getting there. I feel bad because to have it tied would, Hideki would have needed to give a couple more shots back at the end, and he did what champions do, which is close the deal. But it was a good Masters. I mean, when is the Masters ever not at least good? But I don't think in the end it won't go down, at least in the United States, the classic Masters. But that's not to say that this Masters won't reverberate, worldwide and do more for the game of golf than we probably even understand today as an American audience. So still an impactful weekend, if not necessarily a classic in terms of entertainment.
Yeah, I think it really depends like when you were watching too. Because if you watched the back nine on Saturday, I mean that's when Decky won the thing. I mean, what was he he shot 30 on the back nine on Saturday, and that was as masterful a 9 holes as we can see. But you're right, Sunday was a little bit anticlimactic, and it got close on 16 when Xander put the ball in the water, and his quotes on it were a little weird afterwards. But I'm glad it got close a little bit, but I'm glad Hideki won. It was good to see him close it out, but. A little disappointed I wasn't on him. Usually I'm on Hideki, one of my favorite players, but I just didn't know if the putter was going to be there. But the scrambling was so insanely good that he kind of overcame everything else. He was absolutely masterful around the greens. It was unbelievable how good he was around the greens.
You at least brought his name up. I'm the one that dismissed and said I'd rather have Cam Smith. At least Smith was good. It could have been far worse. I could have said I'd rather have some other guy. I'd rather have Patrick Cantlay or something like that. Pretty brutal. This week
that was a surprise. I think we get a pass on last week because Hideki, that was a hard one to see coming. I mean, he was everybody's pick in majors 4 years ago when he was winning tournaments, but to me that was the most out of nowhere win. Maybe he's put Danny Willett aside. That's a different deal.
Scott will never put Danny Willett aside.
I would put that almost in the class of Sergio's win of just like. Wow, I thought his time was a few years ago, and even though he was, still a top player, you just didn't see any signs coming into the week that was going to be the week where there'd be a major breakthrough. So, Matsuyama hit all the shots he needed to down the stretch and certainly deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the past though, at least it's on the DraftKings side. We had a lot of guys under 7,000 that did really well. I know we mentioned Corey Connors, we mentioned Kokrak made the cut, we mentioned Siwoo Kim who finished high, Ryan Palmer. I think was the 4 guys we had under 7,000. All guys 3 of those guys were on the leaderboard. On Sunday. Palmer, Kim, and Connors were all as you see the Masters leaderboard, they were kind of moving on. Kim and Palmer fell back a little bit on Sunday, but in terms of some value, at least we hit it on that in that regard.
Yeah, we won't see Corey Connors at 6,900 at the Masters ever again.
No, or maybe any other course for a while.
Yeah. In fact, he's 9,300 this week at Harbour Town, and that's where he was getting priced for a while. Actually, to be fair, and then just and he just for whatever reason he dropped for this particular tournament just because of the strength of the field. But this is a good field coming up. Let's jump right into Harbour Town. Start off at the top. I mean, Dustin Johnson's here. He's never done well at this tournament. He's never done well in his home state of South Carolina, actually, on the PGA. So, yet he's priced up as the favorite. Reaction?
I'm surprised he hasn't played better in this state. I don't know if it's that extra crush of South Carolina media descending upon him that adds the pressure. I'm just kidding. That's not. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's strange to me, but. I would probably steer clear of DJ this week in the daily fantasy games and even just futures bets. He hasn't quite been on form this spring. And I think there's just some other options that maybe fit the course profile a little bit better and are playing a little better. So, but understandably, conversation's got to start with him this week. The fact that that he's in the field, to me, is a bit of a surprise.
I mean, I think he's an RBC sponsor guy is the only reason he's playing this week, is that he's kind of sponsor required to play. But
That makes sense.
I mean, here's the thing. DJ could blow away this field. DJ can win at any time. But you look at the last 3 events, he's just not playing DJ-like right now. And if I'm going to pay that price both in the betting market and on DraftKings, I want my top guy to be in form. So pretty easy for me to just drop down maybe $1,000 some of these other guys this week.
So $900 cheaper is Webb Simpson, the defending champ. He's not in amazing form, but he's certainly not playing poorly either. And it's obviously course for horse. Horse for course, course for horse would be weird, but he's a guy that should play pretty well here.
Yeah, he's got a great track record, and coming in as a defending champion, I could certainly it'd be very easy to justify a Webb Simpson pick or two, or mixing him into your lineups. I sort of lean Morikawa in that same tier. Just a similar profile in terms of driving accuracy. I think that's where it all starts this week. If you're gonna just like look at tour stats and who fits the course profile. So I find myself in that tier of player, grabbing Morikawa. I just very rarely pick repeat champions, even though it's very often it happens, or they at least come close, because like you said, horse for course. But I like Morikawa this week as like my main foundation for a DraftKings or FanDuel lineup.
I have a big bold on Morikawa this week. Also, I agree there. I mean, I think for me, it's like I see Webb and Colin pretty close. DraftKings, they're close price. If you look at the betting market, though, Webb's the favorite, 11-1. Morikawa is the 5th favorite at 21-1. You're gonna give me 10 points of extra value. I think I'm gonna take Morikawa if I'm betting. I can see both ways on the DK side. I'd probably lean Morikawa. I love the game right now. He kind of fell apart on Saturday at the Masters. He putted terribly on Saturday. His strokes lost putting on Saturday were insane, to the point that I actually bet him in his head-to-head matchup on Sunday, because I love the bounce back on that. And he actually beat Matt Jones by a couple strokes as he was paired up with, so it worked out nicely. But yeah, I think Morikawa, especially anytime you get Morikawa over 20-1 right now, I think that's a green light right there.
Second place at the Masters was Will Zalatoris. I think the world got to see a lot of him. I mean, I think the fantasy world was on him already, but the more general golf public was paying more attention to him finally this weekend. If only he could have made a couple more putts, it would have made that a little bit more interesting on Sunday. He's up at 9,700 this week. Scott, what do you think? What's your reaction to that?
I love Zalatoris. We talked about him a few times. Incredible performance last week. First time at the Masters to finish second. And, made a little bit of run there. He put a little fear in Decky for a little bit. I don't know. I think that's a tough week to come off. That's such a high week. I mean, he's top 25, 5 straight weeks. So, I mean, playing extremely well. I think in the range, there's a couple of guys I just like more betting-wise. He's right around that Morikawa line also. So I think it probably won't be a heavy Zalatoris week for me, but nothing this kid does will surprise me at the moment.
Jeff?
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead,
you want to
Jeff.
have fun with your lineups. I mean, he's certainly a fun guy to watch. So
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, part of this is when I set up lineups, it's just guys that I want to watch and enjoy watching. And I agree with Scott. You kind of feel like the magic carpet ride has to the carpet has to land on Earth at some point, and this would seem like a natural place, just coming off of that, what he did last week at Augusta. But it was fun, wasn't it? I would still endorse plugging it back in there. There's sometimes you just got to ride the wave. So, and
he can flat out ball strike too. I mean, it's unbelievable how well he hits the ball, and it's a good course for that. The course fits him pretty well. I think it's just a tough week to come off and bet him or put him in the DraftKings price. But hard to doubt the kid right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Jeff, Daniel Berger was at the height of his powers last year when they last played the RBC. It was the second term after they resumed play. He's 10,000 this week on DraftKings. Another guy that I think, at least people have pretty high expectations of him. You're not getting him as cheaply as you did last year. What are you looking at for him this week?
Yeah, I still, if you're going to do stars and scrubs, right, maybe you could go Morikawa plus Berger or Webb Simpson plus Berger if you want. I certainly think he probably justifies that price to a point, because he did play so well last year. But I don't know. I mean, this is a different event. it's a different spot on the calendar now. I mean, Webb Simpson shredded the course scoring record last year in winning. It was the second event back post COVID. So, I don't know. I just, again, I feel like I understand the pricing on Daniel Berger. There's just other guys I want in that tier.
I wonder if maybe a lot of people go that way. He missed the cut at the Masters too, so that helps. Maybe he's flies a little under the radar this week. He's in between Webb and Morikawa. Then right below him is Zalatoris and Corey Connors and Tyrrell Hatton. I wonder if Berger gets lost in the mix a little bit. Whenever someone gets lost in the mix a little bit, a prime elite player, I like to do that. 4 top 10s the last 7 weeks. I think I'm going to at least slide him in one DraftKings lineup because I think he might go a little bit under owned this week.
Interesting. I like it. I like the logic on that one there. If there's one stat we're looking for this week from Harbour Town, what is it?
Go ahead, Scott.
For me, it's shot gained on approach. I just think this course is all about, I think driving accuracy is probably the second one. This course is all about not hitting the ball far, but hitting the ball in the right spots in the fairway. I was reading a couple stories, and it seems like there are times where like it's better to be a little bit off in the rough and from one side of the fairway than in the fairway on the other side. It's like all about angles. The greens are really small. I think it's just a ball striker's, shot maker's course, and I think that distance is muted a little bit here, which I think that it is important to know because you get guys like Webb that suddenly are right there with DJ this week. So I think that shot gains approach is probably my top one, and then I wanted some accurate drivers of the ball too.
And I start right there. I start with driving accuracy and start forming my list from just sorting that stat on the PGA Tour stats. Who's leading in accuracy, and I start forming my list of stars and scrubs alike, just from looking at those numbers.
All right, so with that in mind, let's find some guys here. I mean, we talked about most of the guys at the top tier. If there's anybody else on that level, go ahead and mention them. But at the same time, Jeff, let's start with you. Who are some mid-tier and lower-tier guys that you're looking at in that light?
Yeah, I would look at maybe another one of South Carolina's beloved sons, Kevin Kisner. Anytime you talk about a course that you don't need to overpower, a guy like Kevin Kisner immediately comes back into play. And these are the kind of tracks where someone with his profile, this is how they make a living, is beating up on these golf courses, 7,100 yards. Placement over power really will be the name, will carry the day at Harbour Town. So he was a guy I flagged immediately. And then when I looked at the stats to back it up, that he is still in the fairway this year. Hasn't done a lot this year. And maybe is due. I think, I don't know. He's just a guy that I sort of put a star next to in that mid-tier, and I'd plug him in.
I do have a lot of mid-tier guys, but I'm going to go a little upper mid-tier first because I don't want to go past the guy that I'm picking to win this tournament. At 9,200, I really think that the stats we mentioned, everything lines up really well for Paul Casey this week. Kind of played okay last week, but made the cut. Finished top, he finished 26 of the Masters, but 6 straight worldwide in the top, whatever it was, top 10 or top 15 before that, 4 straight on the PGA Tour in the top 10. Really good tee to green and approach numbers lately. 4 straight top 10s, like I mentioned. I think it feels like a week where, some of these top guys, it might be tough coming off the Masters, but I like Casey to sneak in there. I think 9,200 is a price where he's high enough where people are going to gravitate to him like they did last week at 7,900. He was really high percentage last week. I think Casey will be my pick to win this week, and obviously in a lot of my DraftKings lineups.
I like that. I'm going to throw out one name and see what your guys' reaction to it here is Brian Harman. I think he's really accurate in his approach, makes a lot of putts. The lack of distance on this course will help him a little bit. At 8,700, will you have any of him in your lineups?
Yes, that's a great pick. He keeps popping up. Feels like he's just a player on the upswing. Another one who doesn't rely on power to get around, kind of in the Kevin Kisner body type and game type. Scrappy and has the swag about him that is kind of fun to watch as well. So absolutely, Brian Harman's a great pick this week.
I just like a lot of guys in that range a little bit more, but we talked about, like we did with Berger, I think Harman will go very under on this week. We got Casey at 9,200. We have Matthew Fitzpatrick at 9,100. Oh, sorry, he wants to be Matt Fitzpatrick now. Then Abe Answer is at 8,900. And this is a guy that finished second here in June, and that was with losing strokes gained putting against the field. Like, it's really hard to finish second, actually lose strokes putting. He gained 13.7 shots tee to green and 11.8 in approach last week. He had a stretch. I forget what exact number it was. We had a stretch in that tournament where he hit so many greens in a row. They were like talking. I think think he had 18 greens in regulation round. I think was the thing he had last year. He was unbelievable ball striking last year at this course. 3 top 25s before Augusta. Would have been top 20 at Augusta if not for that 2-stroke penalty in the sand on Thursday, where it was kind of a weak penalty. I mean, he did touch the sand, I get it, but a penalty that really didn't affect the shot very much. But that would have been 4 state top 25s. If you like Harman this week, though, I mean, with those 3 guys right above him, a couple other names right below him, I can't imagine people are clamoring to play Brian Harman at the price, and that's usually a good thing for DraftKings if you like the player.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the penalty unanswer. I was going to follow up on that. All right. So last week, Scott, you found us a lot of cheap guys that made our lineups fit. Who are we going to turn to this week to do that?
So there's a lot of guys in the 7,000s that I like that you can kind of play a bunch of them and get some of your top guys in. There's a couple 6,000s I'll mention also at the end. I'm going back to Siwoo Kim at 7,900. I think the price is right. Finished 12th at the Masters, 3 state top 25s. He was top 10 at the Players in tee to green and approach were really good numbers there, and just playing really solidly. Siwoo's a guy that can go off and on, but you want him when he's on form. When you don't, you want to stay far, far away because he can finish last, literally. Charlie Hoffman too, 7,800, top 23 of his last 4 tournaments. He was second at the Valero 2 weeks ago. Gained 4.8 shots on approach his last 4 track tourneys. That we don't do the alternate sites for the tracked events, so we don't have numbers there. But just playing really solidly at 7,800. And then last guy I want to mention here, 7,500 in the middle here, is Matthew Wallace. Made the cut at the Masters. Another guy that's a little bit hot or cold, but when he's hot, you want him in your lineups. He finished 3rd at Valero the previous week. That was with losing strokes on putting. So if you just putt a little bit, his ball striking was immaculate at Valero. An up and down guy, but I think high upside, which in a DraftKings tournament at 7,500, that's the kind of guy you want. There's a guy that's 7,500 that can actually win this tournament. Usually guys down here were like, oh, he can finish top 20. Matthew Wallace is a guy that if he's on form could win this tournament. 2 top 20s the last 4. He's someone at 7,500 that I think I'm going to have a lot of.
I love the Hoffman pick. He was right there at the Valero, had Masters week off. I don't remember, one of you two made the joke that he was leading on Thursday wherever he was playing that week, regardless.
I stole your joke, I think. Yeah,
it's a good joke. I think other than the fact that Hoffman's on my fantasy team, which is automatically the kiss of death, I'd be inclined to put him in my lineups more. Siwoo Kim's a great pick. I found myself, and I don't know why, and this is more of a gut call than a stats call, down in that 7,000 tier. I like Matt Wallace a lot too, but I found myself clicking on Harold Varner, and I'm not sure why. But I think I got in this mode of like body type, game type, like not a big hitter. I got in this like Kevin Kisner, Brian Harman mindset, and I started just kind of following it on down the page. And Harold Varner, I think, was at 7,000 on DraftKings, and I found myself rounding out my lineup with him a couple times.
How about
He's a guy that can go high. He's a guy that can go high or low. To him, you look at his history. He's like miscut 19th, 61st, 22nd, 62nd miscut. Yeah. He's all over the place. When he plays well, though, he plays well.
Indeed, he does. Okay, how about some fades? Who are some guys you're staying away from, whether it's the price or you just don't think they like his chances here? We'll start with you, Jeff.
I mean, I fade DJ. I just, fading the number 1 player in the world is probably not generally a money-making move in golf betting, but I think this is a week where, like Scott made the case perfectly at the start of the show, but there's just other ways to go. If you're going to spend a top-line golfer, I think pick somebody who's comfortable at this place, who's played it a lot, and just there's a track record, current form. It feels strange to fade the best player in the game, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have DJ just kind of on a price basis. I don't think I'm going to have Patrick Cantlay either, just not playing well lately. But I'll give you someone who is playing well, who I'm not going to have is Cameron Smith this week. I just think he's a little bit relying on huge putting numbers lately. He gained 5.8 and 6.9 strokes putting at the Players in WGC Mexico. Finished top 10 at the Masters last week and then 4th at Genesis. They got like a really good run right now. People are really on him right now. I just think it's a little bit relying on the putting at the moment, and I feel like we're maybe looking at a little bit of a mediocre week for Cam Smith. As hot as he's been, I'm gonna take other guys in the range, and he's priced up at a spot at 10-2 that he's got to play really well. He's got to be on a chance to win the tournament. I'm not feeling Cam Smith this week.
Yeah, so there's some pretty heavy prices, heavily priced guys that you're going to stay away from this week. So that it does open it up for like mid-tier, like structure-wise, building your lineup. Are you even digging into the 6,000 tier at all?
I have two guys in the 6,000s that I believe sprinkling in some lineups that I'll mention as we get to the end here. But for me, a little bit less stars and scrubsy this week. In the Masters week, there's guys in the 6,000 that are really good players. We talked about them last week. We talked about Siwoo and Corey Connors. I mean, those are really world-class players that are in the 6,000. You don't get that at a tournament like this.
Right.
I have a couple of guys in the 6,000s who I do like, but we're talking about guys who probably can't win. You're hoping to make the cut. And this event's tough. I mean, we had 138 players. Getting 6 to 6 through the cut in DraftKings is really difficult in a week like this. So I'm a little more kind of medium. I'll play some guys in the 9s, some low 10s, maybe, but only one guy there. I won't go stars and scrubs this week. A lot of 7s and 8s for me this week. Trying to build a stable lineup. Trying to get 6 guys through the cut with a couple of guys that can finish high up on the leaderboard. But it's a different build than it is, I think, at a major.
Yeah, that was the impression I got as well. So. How about you, Jeff? When you've been building, any other tips like structurally on your building your teams?
I stayed out of the 6,000 tier as well. Harold Varner was like my bottom of the ladder, who can run hot or cold. I just had a feeling something inside said hot week, and I just went for it. And I saw him at 7,000, so nothing below that.
All right, betting wise, Scott. Looking at the odds, what catches your eye?
Do you want my 6,000 guys first?
Yeah, sure. Let's go 6,000 guys. That's fine.
Just because I have it up on the screen. I do like Doug Gim this week at 6,900, hitting it really well. Tee to green, awful on the greens. Last couple tournaments, lost a lot of strokes. And I think that if he could just be an average putter this week, I think that he makes the cut. And, maybe he can be a top 10, 20 kind of guy. He's 12th in the field, tee to green, the last 36 rounds. So, really hitting the ball well when you look at everybody in this field. Top 10 on the field and approach last 36 rounds. So, a guy that just sticks out a little bit at the price. He's hitting the ball really well. My other guy down even a little bit lower, 6,700, is Chase Seifert this week. Last 4 tournaments, he's 44th, 18th, 3rd, and 15th. 2 of those were alt events. I get that. Didn't get a lot of attention there, but playing really well. But finished 3rd at the Honda, gained 8.6 shots tee to green, 7.9 approach, 3 top 20s in 2021. So for a guy at 6,700, there's enough there. He's doing enough well. Placing up on the leaderboard 3 times in the year is someone that I'm probably going to put in a couple lineups where I need someone cheap. Maybe I want to play a 10 and a 9, something like that. I think Seifert's a guy that can make the cut and maybe slide in the top 25.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned Gim, and the optimizer likes him too. RotoWire's optimizer likes him. When I ran my first run of it last night, that's one of the names that popped up to make the lineup fit. So there you go.
How does all right, you got to tell me, how does a RotoWire optimizer, what does that mean and how does that work?
Okay, so most DFS websites will have a tool that you can kind of plug in your parameters. You can lock players in, you can lock players out, and it generates an optimal lineup using all the settings that you want to do. And all I did was I pretty much kept it pretty beige. I locked out bottom guys, just a couple guys I didn't think had any chance. And then ran it, and you can put a lot more into it. I didn't really lock anybody in because I just wanted to see who it spat out as how to build a lineup, and it gives you your 6 guys, and it makes it all fit under the salary cap, and it Doug Gim, so it was kind of interesting to see that.
Huh.
So.
I like it. I like to hear that.
Yeah. So okay, let's do betting odds real quick here, and then we'll finish with our winners. Scott, quickly give me a couple of betting odds guys that you like.
So I haven't decided which one, but I think I'm gonna go Paul Casey at the top. He's 23-1, which makes it hard for me to bet Morikawa, who I do like at 21-1. But I think I'm gonna go Casey. In the mid-range, I do like Charlie Hoffman at 40-1 and Siwoo Kim at 50-1. I think both guys that could win this tournament. And then as you get deeper down the field here, I think I'm going to have a few bucks on Matt Wallace. He's gone from 100-1 to 75-1. Don't like that, but still enough that I'm in on there. And then I'm going to put a couple bucks on Doug Gim at 125-1, and maybe a couple bucks on Michael Thompson. He's a horse for course guy. Has played really well here. He's 125-1. Doesn't take a lot to put a couple bucks on him, and I think he's finished top 10 here the last 2 years, 8th in 2020, 10th in 2019, played really well at Honda. So enough there that 125-1 might make it interesting and see if he can get a little squirrely on Sunday.
Yeah, Michael Thompson, nothing gets by Scott. That was my stealth guy too for a little bit of course form at some high odds. But then I think I go right back to some of the guys we've been talking about. I would look at Morikawa. I'd look at I don't want to spoil my pick to win yet, but kind of in that tier. I think Matt Fitzpatrick's a great pick this week. He's not going to be my ultimate one pick, but still like that he's dropped Matthew and gone to Matt. I still think that move to simplify and streamline is going to pay off somewhere. I think there's some guys in that tier that are interesting. Paul Casey, another one.
All right, very good. All right, let's jump right to it. Your pick to win, Jeff.
The golf gods owe him one now. And Scott laid out the statistical case beautifully earlier. I thought you were going to go all the way and make him your pick. Maybe you will. We've shared picks before, but I think Abe Ancer, he played it so well last year. He is having a quietly great year. He deserved more out of the Masters than he got, and he's going to win soon. He keeps playing the way he's playing. It's going to happen somewhere. And I think this is it's already proven to be a great course for him because he played it so well last year. He would be my one pick for this week.
I'm gonna go Paul Casey. I think I love the form. I like the fact that he played well, but not way up there at the Masters. So I do like that. He's kind of didn't have the crazy Sunday pressure. I just think the form is fantastic right now. The numbers in the stats that I like this week are right there, and I think it's time for Casey to win one on the PGA Tour here. How about you, Jeff?
Oh, you're gonna make me pick one here. I'm just a Jim Nance of this here, but
no, gotta pick one.
I will. I used Brian Harman in my one and done this week, so
all right.
We'll see how that carries out. But all right, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of Gaming Golf. Please subscribe, rate, or review the podcast. We do appreciate it. Please give us feedback. Let us know what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of. You can tweet at us at Jeff_Ritter, at Scott Genstad, and at Jeff_Erickson. Good luck this week here at the RBC, and enjoy your tournament. Hopefully you do well and you can report a winner back to us. Take care.